It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Harvard Sports Information Director, Derk Bryant. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to become a sports information director for college?
Sure. Well, I didn't when I got into the field of athletics. I didn't see sports information at the beginning as a path, but I did know I wanted to be in sports information. So my final semester at my alma mater at Juwan University, I interned in the athletic department under sports information, and luckily Meredith Long gave me an opportunity, and I learned a lot that one semester. And from there, that's where it all started. And years later, I'm still in the field.
Can you talk about, of course, what did you learn at Juwan University going under sports information director?
Yeah. So in terms of my time at Juwan, I learned a lot in terms of working on my fundamentals. I think I call it Coach Long, but Meredith Long, I think that's where I built my foundation of, writing, being able to do statistics. So that's where my foundation began at Juwan, at my alma mater.
Can you talk about your time at Maryland Eastern as the athletic media relations?
Sure. My time at Maryland Eastern Shore was great. It gave me another opportunity to grow in the field of athletic communications. I was there for 4 seasons, and Mr. G. Stan Bradley, took a chance on me, and I'm thankful for him. And that it helped me continue to hone in on my craft, whether it was writing, whether it was statistics, being able to build relationships with the media outlets. So my time at University of Maryland Eastern Shore was great.
Can you talk about getting the opportunity to be a media relations intern for the NFL in the Super Bowl?
Yes. So that was a privilege, I would say. And obviously with that internship, it went on. It gave me an opportunity to go on and get an internship with the Miami Dolphins down the road. That was a great experience, just because you saw the operation aspect of it. Like, obviously the Super Bowl is coming up this week, or a couple weeks from now. But leading up to the Super Bowl, you have media week, not media day. It's a media week, and everyone from across the country and the world fly in to that particular city. Obviously this year is in Tampa Bay. When I was interning, it was down in South Florida, and just seeing the different personalities where radio, TV, and so forth, and seeing how that operation worked, helped me continue to build and grow in this field of athletic communications.
Can you talk about, of course, what is the biggest difference between a media relations in the NFL versus being an SID in like the college athletics?
I think obviously one of the biggest differences is that, depending on the level, collegiate level you're at, you're focused on in the NFL on one particular sport, which is obviously whether it's football, basketball, wherever it may be, soccer. And it's more of being able to, in terms of media aspect of it, managing the media. Whereas, again, depending on your collegiate level, like if you're at a Power 5, you're almost, I would assume you're almost running it like a professional level, because you're being able to, you'll get the media requests and you're just managing the different media outlets. When you're at a smaller institution, you have to generate your own buzz. So you have to go out there and reach out to those different media outlets in terms of what you have to offer. So I think that's one of the biggest differences in terms of media aspect of it. Now, obviously, collegiate level also you have to deal with statistics and so forth, but that's one of the biggest differences.
Can you talk about what is the day-to-day life like as a sports information director?
Yeah, it's never a dull moment. I'll say that. You're dealing with different, and again, it kind of depends on what level you're at the collegiate level, but your hands is in different aspects of it. Like I said, whether it's branding, whether it's marketing, whether it's operations, you're always dealing with different aspects in athletics. And you have one big thing about being in sports information is that you have to build those relationships with those different departments. So yeah, it's never a dull moment in sports information.
What is some of the things that you have to do whenever it comes to branding and marketing as a sports information director?
In terms of the branding and marketing aspect of it, one of the biggest things you make sure is that you have the right branding. Like for example, what I have on my shirt, this is our brand, Howard University. This is our logo. This is what we use. So when we put out, whether it's a press release, whether it's a graphic, we want to make sure that we always utilize our brand so people know who we are. And that's just not just in sports, but in business in general. And then, obviously another thing is, if you have any, sponsors, and if you look at my shirt, you have Under Armour. So that's one of our major sponsors. So, those are two of the things in terms of being able to market and brand, whether it's your organization or a corporate sponsor, in that aspect of it.
Can you talk about serving as the liaison for, of course, the media and the coaches?
Yeah. So I always treat it as being the middle person um, in regards to media outlets wanting to, get interview requests for, student athletes or coaches. So they usually have to go through that media representative. Obviously, SIDs are part of that media representative, but a PR person, whoever it may be, and they put their request in, and then you communicate with whether it's the coach or the student athlete or staff member what they're looking to do, and then after that, if you both agree upon what you want to do in terms of that interview, then you go ahead and execute it.
Can you talk about, of course, the process of getting like requests from, like, let's say me as a sports media person, sending in a request for a coach to come on like a podcast and stuff? What is that like?
Well, it's and again, every department and organization function differently. But in terms of getting a media request, some people, like for me, my preference is getting a media request via email because I check my emails frequently. But some people use a software that you have to submit it via this software through a online application. Now, in terms of like a media credential, I'm a little different. So I don't do I try not to do West because sometimes you get so many and you may miss something. But that's when I use use a software that you fill out the application and it goes through our program, and I won't be able, and I'll be more efficient in terms of answering your media request that way.
Can you talk about, of course, the process of getting interviews? Like, for example, how I do, where I would email a coach. What is that like?
Well, in terms of media outlets, again, every organization and department operates differently. But reaching out to a coach or a student athlete, I say it like this: in terms of we'll go back to in terms of your original question of working at the professional level and the collegiate level. Um, the professional level, when you reach out to a player or coach, you don't have to. I mean, technically, you don't have to go through the PR staff of that organization. You don't have to. Now, I don't recommend that because that's not a way to build a relationship, but you could. Um, Whereas at the collegiate level, you want to. I think you have a little bit more control of that because you can reach out. I mean, you can deny a interview request um, more. You have more control over that. So that's why, in terms of um, media reaching out to coaches and student athletes, most and again, a lot of universities operate differently. They prohibit reaching out to the student athletes, coaches, and their family members as well. That's why they say go through the proper channels, which is either that sports information department or athletic communication department, and at the collegiate level.
During the interview with coaches and stuff, can you talk about a little bit of what coaches are allowed and not allowed to talk about with like people like on a podcast and even with media in general?
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're looking to talk about. I mean, excuse me, I'm sorry. If it's something that's human interest, that's and the coach or the student athlete is okay with it, that's fine. Um, One thing that I usually do when I coordinate interviews is that I be on the calls or on the Zoom interviews now. Not just the to always monitor it, but just to one, make sure that that um, it happens. That's one of the main things. But also, just to build those relationships with those media outlets, and knowing that, for the first, if this is the first time that you are coordinating this with this media outlet, they know that, I can always go through Derek and he'll make it happen. And that kind of limits the terms of trying to reach out to a coach and so forth.
Can you talk a little bit more about like, of course, like whenever like somebody comes on, like what can they not say and what can they say? That kind of deal.
Yes. I mean, I can't go into elaborate, but there are some things that you tell coaches and student athletes to kind of just, I guess, shy away from discussing. Or if you know for a fact that for example, if there's a particular play that may have decided a game, they're going to talk about that. So it's one of those things that you come down to being able to I guess I don't want to use the PR crisis, but manage the manage the damage in terms of it's coming. So let's see if there's a way let's minimize it and say this rather than this and so forth.
When it comes to, of course, recruitment, with talking to coaches and stuff, what can like people like me in the media say and do whenever it comes to that?
I'm sorry, repeat your question again.
Whenever it comes to coaches like asking like questions like about the recruitment process, like the official visit, that kind of stuff, can you elaborate a little bit on like what coaches can say and what they can't say and stuff like that?
Sure. I know one of the biggest things that they cannot say in terms of a prospect is that prospect by name. They can't talk about that prospect. So such and such is looking at a university, and if, let's say it's John Doe is looking at this university, and he verbally commits. The coach cannot say, talk to you about that person by name. Also with anybody that say that has, like I said, verbally commit, or a prospect that's 2 years down the road. So that's one of the things they cannot talk about, I know for a fact. But once they sign that national letter of intent and we have it, then you're more than welcome to talk about that commitment.
What advice would you give upcoming sports information directors looking to get started?
Well, I think I'll say in terms of my biggest advice is to, continue to adapt and grow. When I got in it, about over 10 years ago, it had changed. It's changed dramatically, and it's only been 10 years. Whether it's social media, because at that time we only had Facebooks, and now they have different platforms now. So your ability to adapt is huge. And like I said, back when I was 10 years ago, we didn't even have Adobe and Adobe Creative Suites or Creative Cloud now. So, it was Creative Suites 5 years ago. Now it's Creative Cloud. So it's just being able to adapt to the different, to the new technology that's coming up.
Where can my listeners find, of course, the Harvard program on social media along with you?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the university's athletics?
Okay. Well, the University Athletics can be found at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at HU Bison, BISON, sports. Sports, yeah. All one word. And the athletic website is HUBisonsports.com. Let's see, in terms of my personal, let's see, it's been a while. Instagram, I go by DW Champ, CHAMP30, one word. And my Twitter goes by, gosh, I gotta remember now. It's _boy with the I _dub DUB. It's a long story with that one too, but that is my underscore for that is my Twitter. So
thank you again for your interview, and best of luck in the sports information department at Harvard.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, and thank you for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Derek, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having me.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.